Cool then. Let's get started. Good evening, Venkat.
Good
Uh,
evening. Good evening.
so good evening, everyone. Today is a very special session for me because there are a lot of a very diverse crowd that has come in for the today's session. So I really wanted to make it a very interesting one, and people can take away something out of the session today. So with that, I want to actually start the session by introducing Venkat. Venkat, few might know about him, or probably Venkat's team is also here. I'm not sure, but few he works with GUVI, and we call him Venkat to be very short. And GUVI is a very well-known space in terms of training and for the tech space especially. So I let Venkat, I want Venkat to give a brief about what Ruby does, and then probably he can tell us how to go about that.
Sure. So thanks for this time and this opportunity to be connected and discuss here, Ramya, and good evening to everyone. Hi, everyone. This is Venkatasubramanian. This is my full name, and people used to call me Venkat. And first, I'll go with a small intro about myself, and then I'll elaborate what GUVI does and how it was taken into it. So initially, used to work as a developer in organizations, and then later I got passionate about teaching. So later, I started to share my knowledge with co-peers and then some other training areas. So later on, I joined with GUVI by the year of 2020, and still now I'm with GUVI. And initially, I was a mentor for the learners who joined with GUVI, and later on, team lead, and right now with manager. So this is my overall role with GUVI. And later on, I was into the OKR, and I started to practicing. And from there, it moved to one by one level of state and one level of questions to go ahead. This is my short intro. So coming back to the GUVI, is an online learning platform that offers vernacular-based language courses, Hindi, Bengali, Odia, Marathi, and so on, inclusive of all other majority languages. So initially, GUVI was founded in 2011 as a YouTube channel where it was started by our founder Arun Prakash. So he just wanted to share the coded snippet videos to his juniors. That is the part, actually, initial start. So later on, it became an idea, and three people started it as a company. One is Arun Prakash, another one is our late Sri co-founder Sri Devi, another one is Balamurgan. So these three people started in 2014, and from there it is still growing on slowly, and right now also the same, with overall employee count from 600 full time to 100 at the same time. So this is the overall summary about GUVI.
When I first met them, they were just a 50-member team. So from there to
Correct.
where is a different story altogether.
Correct.
So thank you very much, Venkat, for giving a brief introduction. Let me also elaborate your introduction a bit. And I just wanted to welcome you all for this session. Before we deep dive into the actual session, I wanted to kind of introduce why we do this session. Every month we do this webinar. Every month we discuss about goal setting. We discuss about OKRs with all the leaders who are practicing it on the ground and who has an ability to drive it across the team. And also people are enthusiasts or have also spoken here in our earlier sessions. So we run a community called Goals Accomplished Community, where we have visionaries, CEOs, the leaders, HR leaders. Everyone are part of this particular community that we have built. We have close to around 180 people in that particular community. As a part of community event, we conduct one event, one webinar session online every month, and we also meet up in respective location in India and also outside India whenever is required. In terms of every quarter we do the community meeting in person also. So that's the agenda for having this meeting. And just to introduce who we are as Datalligence, why do we actually do this? Why do we have a community? We are a SaaS platform. We help organizations to drive their goals, and we help organizations to cascade their goals till the last level of team member, increasing in alignment to your company level objective, And we also kind of club and give you a lot of responses and also pulse ratings in terms of survey and also performance reviews. That's by and large what we do. And as an organization, we do not believe in a concept called one size fits all concept. So we build a lot of other business metrics that are useful for organizations to measure. And you can actually plug and play like a Lego block at any given point of time. So that's how modular we are. So this is about us, and let me go ahead and introduce myself. My name is Ramya Chandrasekaran. I'm one of the co-founder of Datalligence. I come from a 20 plus years of HR experience, and goal setting, goal deployment, execution has been my role for almost 20 years, and that's the passion that along with another business leader, I co-founded this company in 2020. So this is our fourth year journey, and I've worked in metrics on scales like your balance scorecard, your MBOs, your smart goals, or your cohesion calorie method. So that's how I actually got really very attracted to OKR as a methodology. So just to give a brief, Venkat shared his introduction, but to give where you can reach him is that Venkat is part of a mentor team in GUVI where he trains team members, and he's one of the active champions in OKR deployment at GUVI. They are placed in IIT Research Park, and he's been instrumental in deploying this particular objectives and key results for GUVI as a team. And he's also passionate, as he said, about training and also mentoring. And he also comes from a technology background, so he's a kind of a full package where he understands people at the same time can train and also understand what they speak. So with that, let me actually, kind of jump to, I'll stop share and I'll jump to the questions that I have for Venkat. I think we have participants probably waiting to hear what you have to say in terms of your deployment in GUVI, Venkat.
Sure.
So while actually Venkat and I had an opportunity to work along in terms of discussing OKR and implementing OKR as a platform. But before I even knew him, they were already practicing OKRs. So can you just give me a bit of a premise on how it all started? Because when we met, you already were in, I think, in a maturity state. So what was actually the starting point for you, and how actually GUVI actually adopted this methodology?
Okay. So here in GUVI, where the OKR was an idea and the initiative taken by our founder and CEO Arun Prakash actually. So in the earlier days, before 2 years, we were slowly growing up and where we wanted to expand the business and other areas. So due to this, he had an idea to check and understand other other company process, especially Google or Intel and so on. So with that, he came to know about these methodology they used to follow OKR. So from there, it was introduced into GUVI, and initially it was a small team. In back in 2 years, it was around 150 to 200, around within that range of number 200. So where it was easy to train and bring everybody to this system and then go ahead. Now also the same with more people, and overall in collaborative, the main objective of this to bring in is particularly two reasons. One is focus on the outcome, what is needed, where our company goal and how the people are aligned. And another one is to bring the visibility as the main objective, core essence of this OKR. So that helps one. And another one where I will say is that to align the team, everybody. So one quarter we may focus on one area, one quarter we may focus on another. And after a year, we may focus on overseas. So to combine everybody, all the teams, so that was the one main reason to bring it. And more importantly, to align all the teams to the North Star values.
Thank you, Venkat. That's rightly put. I mean, getting towards or traveling towards the North Star goal is something most of the organization, struggle. I've also been reading some statistics recently, right? The most of the companies fail in achieving their goals itself. The reason being, the reason that you were just mentioning, the teams are not aligned, the focus is not there. and
mm,
we're not even accountable for what we are actually doing. So I found these are the main problem statements when it comes to organization when they drive their own goals as org level goals. I
mm,
think this probably OKR might have given you an idea about how to actually achieve that goal.
mm,
I can understand that main area was why you looked at OKR deployment is that you looked at that was a lack of focus or something, or any
mm.
specific problem that you wanted to solve by implementing OKR. You had a problem statement and you fixed it with OKRs. Is there something like that?
Uh, so as I were mentioning about aligning the teams and mapping every people to the company's goal and vision, also mapping them to the North Star values, where the dependencies, internal team dependencies, or the target may change depend on the uh, income. I mean, the people that reach to us. So in this place where the problem to be solved is to everyone has to be in one place, okay, to adapt the common framework. So to fix the common framework, everybody needs a process in place, teams target to be defined very clearly. When it is there in a team, also required individuals targets to be in place. And already we had a practice of using this OKR with Excel. So when there is an Excel, everybody in the team used to update. If somebody updated, it may cause some dependencies or values may not update. There are a lot of other information, mismatch and other parts. So with fix this all the things and should not get deviated from the goal and the mission. This was the problem where OKR was brought in, and majority should not deviate from the goal.
Awesome, Venkat. The one important point you just mentioned is identifying the interdependencies, right? That becomes very crucial when cross-functional teams are working together when it's been deployed early. So when we start working on early, you everything is a north star for you. It looks like everything is an ambitious goal for you when you start.
Mm,
The interdependencies are something which will actually surface out right away when you
mm.
start deploying OKRs. So how does your kind of how do you think that you handle that? Was the team open enough to discuss about it?
Okay. So initially, it was a struggle to introduce this goal framework to everybody. Problem in uh, adapting to that changes, everybody to connect at one time, discuss the problems that they have, the issues they have, or to attain to the goal which is assigned. So this was a problem. But initially, it was there. Later on, people got adapted because of multiple follow-ups, push from other angles. So automatically, people got adapted.
Got it, got it. I mean, it also gets into your culture, right? I mean, after using for some time, it becomes part of our culture. And then you start practicing it. I've also seen companies struggle initially, to get that particular buy-in from each team member. But once they stabilize, the newcomers who come in knows by default that this is the practice we have already. So you
Mm,
don't have to retrain the new folks who've come in. The seniors are already trained and they're going to actually mentor them to take it. The cultural change is definitely a big challenge when it comes to implementation of OKR.
mm.
And I think people are saying, Venkat, you're not audible.
Just
Can you
one
be a
minute.
bit louder?
Yes, let me fix that. Just give me a second. Yeah. So how about now?
For me, it's audible. Is it audible
How
for others too? Can
can
be
be better?
better.
Okay, just a minute.
Someone says better now. Do you want to disconnect the headphone or do you want to
No.
try?
How is
You're
it?
fine.
How about now?
Yeah, it's better now. For me, it's better. I hope give a thumbs up. Yeah, better now. Yeah,
Okay, great. Thanks.
please. Yeah. So we were talking about the interdependencies, right? I mean, what are is there any sessions that you had earlier to kind
Yes,
of brief your team and prepare them?
yes, yes. So where an external party were involved at the initial stage to drive everybody to align to one place. Also, after getting trained by them, and I got learning, and I started to do more research about this KR. And then I used to connect with every team on a periodic basis and train them about the chaos. If new people or a new leader change, again the same is required. So I used every time before the OKR setup. Here we used to follow the quarter-wise cadence. So every quarter before aligning them, we used to connect and discuss how to drive it, how to be set, which is a valid KR, which is not a valid, and then people come into the place, and then we'll move ahead.
Awesome, awesome. Nice. I mean, nice to know that you had support. I know you kind of had external support to get it implemented. And for people who doesn't know how actually OKRs are deployed, I'm assuming everyone knows, but I should not make that mistake. So I'll just give a brief on what OKR does is. OKR is nothing but your objectives and key results. Objectives will help you to, measure your what statement, what you're trying to do. And key results are nothing but it will help you to measure how you're trying to do. And before starting the entire exercise, people do a planning, OKR planning session every quarter. Quarter cadence is something which has been highly advisable when it comes to OKR implementation. Every quarter, we do a planning, and that planning gets executed for that particular quarter and then gets scored on that particular quarter end. So that's typically how OKRs works. You start with your objectives and key results and do a planning and discuss with your manager and then get started with that for the quarter. And then in the quarter end, continuously throughout the quarter, you review that, and the quarter end, you just reflect on your OKRs and say what worked for you and what didn't work for you. So that's in a nutshell how OKRs works. Probably you can DM me. We can discuss more about OKRs if you are keen about knowing more about it. So I wanted to jump and to my one of my favorite question is that there are many milestones that is there, right? I mean, while we progress, right? So first phase, I've seen most of them call the first phase as a discovery phase. So I keep always, when we do the consulting, we see the first milestone is a discovery phase milestone. So
Mm.
what's been your milestone? How long did it actually, any key ones that you can refer to?
Yes, this is a good question actually, because first I thought this would be one among the tasks or the responsibility that I have. So at very first point, I was not also completely aware about this goal framework. So where our founder Arun, he dragged me to that process and he asked me to take look after it and take care with it. So initially I was not aware. Later on, I learned about it, and the external parties were also involved at first, as I said. So they helped in that grooming fundamentally. So then I went through the books, Measure What Matters, and the other company case studies, um, and then uh, dig deeper about the framework, how it helps, basic nuances, and usages, how the impact can be created, and so on. So later I understand that the team uh, to articulate the OKRs better, how we can help them to define. So these are the initial milestones which I say when I came into that. But when it comes to the team and other areas as a whole, if when the team grows, when the company grows, as we the people may change or the person may change, who is responsible for previously, because he may align with some other responsibility. So again, we has to train the new. So that was a one uh, thing which I had as a regular challenging mind. So to fix that, we brought in uh, repeated number of session documents to help them in place. So this is how one by one the milestones I crossed.
Got it, got it. Excellent. Thank you very much. I mean, that was really helpful. The one thing I know, as you said, the people who living in between a cadence, right? I assume a goal, but I'm
Mm,
not there. I'm not there to complete that. I say that I'm going to complete that objective that quarter, but I resign or probably move to a different role.
uh,
So these are the challenges probably you might come across while implementing. So
correct.
that's the very reason we say you do a continuous check-in process, right? I mean, you do the
Correct.
fortnightly discussion at least. We
Uh,
call this a simple water cooler chat, right? You can just chat and see where you're going or not able to progress, or you're planning to quit, at least you can reassign to someone else
Correct.
by that time. So it is very important that you do that have a very short span of intervals in discussing OKRs.
Right. Correct.
Uh,
But in
so, uh,
GUVI, sorry to interrupt, but in GUVI, we do have a practice of weekly. So
oh,
that
awesome.
rigorous is very much required as in the initial stage of adapting. So that is the reason in GUVI, we used to have a weekly check-in, weekly connect. Let it be 30 minutes or 1 hour. So the respective people will align on the table and then we move ahead.
That's an excellent practice. I think that is very much required when you start with the process. Maybe then later it actually streamlines. I think when GUVI actually onboarded our platform Datalligence sometime. I mean, it's been 2 quarters now that we are working with them.
Yes.
And
Yes.
I think your weekly check-ins and weekly discussions can be documented in one place so that it is very easy for you to refer in the next
Sure.
week discussion. So I think I'm happy that we are able to contribute that way to
Yes.
GUVI.
Yes. That helps a lot in streamlining from Excel to the platform. You can
Very
understand
true.
the roadblocks for it.
Okay,
Challenge.
I was about to ask you the roadblocks too.
Uh-huh.
I mean, anything that you want to really, something triggers you, this is something which I will never forget while implementing. Okay, as I had really hard time with that. Is that something instances you want to bring up?
Uh, so as we were saying previously, we used to do things in Excel. So from there, moving to the platform to initially train and adapt them as a one challenge, but later on people adapted and we were now it is a cakewalk for everybody. So
Awesome.
everybody able to use it. But sometimes the champions may change because of
Mm-hmm.
some other responsibilities or any other reason. But the chaos or the objectives whichever defined for the team will remain as it is. Again, the new champion will come in, again, the training. So this is there repeatedly to fix that the team will connect and discuss so things will move on.
Now you mentioned champions. I really wanted to ask you a question. So, how was your champion structures work? Do you have a champion in every department, or how have you planned it?
Yes, every department has one primary champion and a secondary champion. Though there is a manager or a team lead available, apart from him or he, there will be another person, primary and then secondary. So that is how we have as a structure.
Awesome, awesome. So we've been recently working with a retail and also a manufacturing company. We had an overall champion of head HR was the overall champion for that particular company, and the group HR leaders or the group HR folks have been the champion across all the locations. So that was also a great, I found that a scenario, a very beautiful scenario, because every single person in every location becomes accountable for.
Correct,
And as an overall organization, the group head HR was accountable for that particular implementation. So I think having someone internally championing that would actually add a lot of value in the success
correct.
plan, is what I understood.
Correct. Adding to that, in the weekly check-in or the discussion meet, the champions will alone participate. But when every quarter or every month, first week or the last week, the heads and managers will connect during the meet.
Okay.
So to understand things even better.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So that is very interesting to see that you've really structured the champions really well. And we've also seen scenarios that people felt an external support is much required than having an internal champion, especially to quote someone who's been there for 40 year or 50-year old company, making them to entirely change to a framework which is going to be more agile and more transparent might
Correct.
be really very hard. So
Hmm.
in those cases, what we do is we also become an external champion for their own organization, and that helps us also to kind of streamline. I can go and talk to anyone. There is no hierarchy. We don't have any kind of barriers anywhere. That has also helped us going through. So just to kind of, I thought I'll share that experience as well.
Yes, it's
So,
a good.
any objective, say you say that you have a North Star that you already fixed.
Hmm.
Once you know the North Star goal that for GUVI has been already set, how do you really ask your team to go ahead and set derive or absorb or create OKRs for themselves.
Okay.
Is there any guidance that you provide?
Yes. So here, when the objectives, I mean, the goal and the North Star values are already in place, we used to have in a team-wise discussion. So they will plan the chaos. Once it is defined, we'll again connect and revise. Internally, we'll
Okay.
fix it. Then they will connect with me for revisal, and we review it, discuss it, how it can be shaped up better, what are the areas that they have to look. I mean, probably the look back or learn from the past. So which
Mm-hmm.
we have it in place. So from there we'll take and we'll move.
Awesome, awesome. And
Yes.
how is there a difference between implementing it to see? It is very different when you're talking a metric intensive team like a sales team and a
Ah,
marketing team where they
correct,
have data high rich team. When you're
correct.
talking about a support team, if you're talking about an infrastructure team or a DevOps team or an IT, especially the technology team, they would come up and say that, hey, whatever I do cannot be measured. How do
Measured.
you really
Yes.
overcome that?
So here, this is a good question actually. Here, sales team will have one numbers and another team will have another set of numbers. So this is a difference actually. The numbers itself comes with a difference. So that is the reason before aligning the objectives itself, the respective team heads, let's take marketing, sales, and another team who is responsible for that number. They will connect and discuss their numbers mutually and then they will fix with the objectives. So one problem we'll solve it at prior itself. So in the OKR, we'll have the numbers uncommon with everybody.
Awesome, awesome. So that's something very important. This also comes in part of your planning session, right? When you before you even freeze the OKRs, say I have to achieve something as globally. So there are something that sales team has taken, marketing team has taken, product team has taken. So all three are together responsible to make that delivery happen. So people should agree on the targets, timeline, numbers that we are talking about. That becomes a crucial conversation. We
Correct.
also have when we have seen companies do a kickoff meeting where it's a more a war room session. They keep discussing the numbers. The sales team comes up with a number, technology teams comes up with something that they have planned. So that is a very healthy discussion to see. When I see that, it's very interesting because people are really talking about what is possible and what is not possible. And in the OKR planning session itself, we come to know, do we have the enough resources to even deliver this?
Correct.
Are we having the skill sets to even deliver the OKR that we have set? So
Correct.
that's something very I always love the way that we do that discovery and plan for that discovery, right?
Correct.
And one
Correct.
quarter goes for planning.
Another one goes for another.
Yeah. So
So
I think that's a very interesting way that we,
to add
when,
this, To add this, I have one more point actually.
Mhm.
When we here used to connect and discuss about the numbers, additionally, the resource plan also will be there. Additionally, we will have one objective or a KR specifically for a team training and growth and the
Oh,
culture.
awesome. Mm-mm-mm.
So, particular to the team or a department.
Okay, so your learning plan is also part of your OKR that is aligned with your OKR strategy
Correct.
execution.
Yes.
Amazing. That's very interesting. I mean, that's very crucial. We find that, I say that I have to do something, but when I look back after a quarter, I might have not had the resources. I might have not spoken about it at the right time.
Correct.
So these things actually, everyone is in for a surprise, and we also lost a quarter then.
Correct.
So that's something very, very crucial when you're aligning. It is also very important to let go of some OKRs, right? If I don't have the resources, I
Correct.
do not have any plan for that. Then instead
Correct.
of holding to your heart, I think it is better to let go of
Let
that.
go. We'll move that to the next quarter.
Very true.
So if we had a plan and then if we had a chance to implement it and achieve that particular goal, we'll move that to the next quarter.
Okay, okay. I
If
mean,
that is important.
okay, okay. Any experience you want to share in terms of the conversation that has got built around OKRs, that has become healthier after implementation because we keep talking quite often.
Okay. So here, if you say, I quoted this incident, I mean, previously, the sales, marketing, and other teams. So that is the one which will be the crucial and healthy discussion will be there between the team heads actually. So once it, I mean, sometime in the OKR discussion itself, it will get longer than expected time, and it will go. So we'll skip that and we'll move and we'll connect separately to sort this out actually.
Awesome. So let's assume, I have let's see if anyone has any question. Probably I'll give them time. I kind of continuously talk. Don't want to do that. And let's see if someone wants to, someone has any questions. We'll take that. Maybe I have only a couple of questions, and then we almost there. Any questions, audience, from the audience? Okay, I have a question from Reshma. Reshma is asking, how do you make sure everyone are aligned, right? What indicates that there is an alignment?
Okay. So here, the majority, many things are involved, aligning the team and everybody. So particularly the person has been aware of what is the framework that we use in the system. Then about the goal and the mission. Definitely they will get deviated due to other factors. But if that if we are deviating, if it is necessary, means it is mapped to the North Star or not. So that we are okay to move it. Otherwise, we have to give the priority to the one which we already have it.
That's awesome. That's the right way of, I mean, if you're not aligned, you have to take a step back and relook at what you've actually planned.
Right.
So is it your top 5 or 3 priorities that you're talking about? That's very nice. I mean, with that, Reshma, I think you should actually understand, what are the key indicators? I mean, are we, by delivering this OKR, am I really achieving the North Star goal that we have set? So probably that will give you an indication whether you're aligned or not. Where did GUVI feel OKR should be? When did probably, I think that's what, when did GUVI feel OKR should be implemented? I think he started with that. Maybe if you want to touch upon that.
Yes, I'll just reiterate it. Same. So everyone has to have the visibility. What say? Let's take a scenario here. Sales team will have some numbers, and the marketing team will have some numbers. These two things has to match, and when these two things has to match, the vision and the mission of the company also to be matched. So in this area, to align everybody and have the visibility of the numbers, how much it is achieved and it has been viewed by everybody, then that is a place where it need to be required, not only to be everywhere.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Thanks for taking that question. Any other question, or do we move on? Okay. There is one question, 2 questions actually. Do you connect OKRs to your team's performance? I think performance, yeah.
Okay. So team's performance, yes, we do connect. We have there are individual team has different matrices already in place to measure their performance. So along with that, we will take the primary KRs or the objectives assigned for the team, and then we'll see it.
Awesome. Thanks, John. Thanks for asking that. I think I have another question. I think I'll take it. That is for me. Hello, I made to sample data, your data legends. How does OKR relate to BSE model? I mean, that's a very good question. BSE has also been my favorite topic. When you're talking about BSE is more your strategic pillars, right? You have a pillar set, and you know exactly where you're traveling. OKRs and BSEs work very well together. You can keep BSE for your pillars, and for execution strategy, you can adopt OKRs. OKRs will help you to achieve your balanced scorecard priorities that you have set. So I think you can also work it separately. And but the customers that I have worked with, we have worked with, they worked BSE and OKRs together, used OKRs, BSE for their strategic measurement, and for execution, OKRs have helped them. Maybe Jagadishwaran, we can have a word. I mean, offline, we can discuss about it, and I can also take you through our platform demo if you've not seen it yet. Any more questions? Okay, I have a very detailed question now. Someone has been thinking. In my last company, has not let me write aspirational OKR. but I know for a fact that particular OKR can help us. So I think it's like in managing people. I think I understand the issues more. So I want to write an aspirational OKR, but the person I'm reporting to me is limiting because I will not score. Right? Because I'm going to really score less than aspirational OKRs. So, how do we really handle that balance between your commit and aspirational OKRs? Do you want to take that, Venkat?
So here, if it is in this case where committed, the as we know, that is our regular sort of a day-to-day task. In other words, with PC. But when we have as an aspirational, let's see in the other angle, it's a long term, or how say after a month what need to be done in that way. So in this place, uh, we have to emphasize with proven some minor sample data how this aspirational OKR, if we have it in place, then how we can go ahead. So some
Perfect.
sample for a team head or a leader to
Very
understand
true.
things better.
Very true. I mean, it can also help you if your OKR progress is happening by implementing a long-term goal. But I wouldn't really expect anyone to give a result for an aspirational OKR right away, right? I mean, a commit OKR is something we expect people to perform 100% because we have resources, we have planning and everything. But when it comes to aspirational OKRs, we have to allow them to, kind of scale at least to 60-70% because they are doing something out of the box and they're stretching themselves to achieve that. I think you need to keep it separate and look at it separately. I think with that, I think we'll have more balance in terms of having both
Yes.
aspirational and operational. I've seen startups, the thriving and new age startups have aspirational OKRs high in ratio than the commit OKR. So
Committed.
that works for a different culture in a different way, but nevertheless both helps, and it is very important that you separate this and show my commits are different and my aspirations are different.
Different.
If you're able to make that convincing statement, I think that will be helpful for you to get started. I hope if you're not practicing OKRs in your current company, we can discuss, Jennifer. So any question, any other question? Okay. So you can leave your questions probably if you have time. We have another 7 minutes or 8 minutes to go. So I want I want a very important question to be asked to Venkat. So probably I'll go ahead and ask that. So assume that you have a team who was just starting with OKRs from the scratch.
Okay.
So how do you really want to how would you guide them? Where should they start and how should they go on?
Okay. So here, if it is in a new, then they have to test it first actually with small. So this is a common practice which is there in advice in OKR framework. But that is also a true. We can measure the progress and outcome of it about the team. Then that helps the particular team or organization to define it with the entire company level. So also there is another one which helps here is to educate them every time. So whenever new person comes in,
Correct.
educate them is very important. Also, where OKR needs to be unite the company by having one objective to rule them all. So let's take revenue as an objective is being said. I mean, to reach 1 crore is the overall revenue being in the objective. Then for that, we'll have defined set of activities. So it will go in that way. Another part is company level objective will be there and the chaos will be there. In each KR may break down into each departments. So that is how the practice, and which is we say as a top to bottom. And another point we were already discussed is about having a team level champion. That helps actually.
Awesome, awesome. I think you are what one thing which I kind of agree with you is starting small, right? If you're
Yes.
starting with rolling out OKRs for a a bigger organization or a organization which is 500 plus or something, we would always advise you to start small depending on your requirement.
Right.
Because it's very easy to get the buy-in once you see that results, upfront in a quarter or so, you're able to kind of that particular success talks for you rather than convincing people going and kind of experimenting that. So that is very important that you start small and have the right champions in place. I think these are two things which has been a very critical point in implementation. And the leadership should buy in, right? I mean,
Right.
I've known Bala and Arun for a while, and I know the leadership style that they adopt. And I think that's a very reason that entire process gets implemented very
Correct.
seamlessly, because the leaders drive the entire framework. And even if you have hundreds of champions, but the fact that everyone are working towards one goal, right? I
Correct.
mean,
Correct.
so that is something, and we have seen how GUVI has grown, how your HCL story happened.
Correct.
So I think this actually gives people like us a lot of confidence that when you really have that conviction towards your North Star goal and know every people are working towards it, the
Right.
success is given.
Correct.
So
So
that's something very interesting that I have kind of come across. Anything that you want to share before we close up, or anyone has any questions to
I
ask?
just I just have a couple of points which
Hmm?
might be useful for everybody. Say uh, to have a playbook about the process, FAQ, company's implementation, the need, and etc. So the playbook will definitely helps in place to understand the base and fundamentals. Then another point is about feedbacks about their progress. They weekly connect with or monthly connect or quarterly connect with the founders or the directors about the team, whether the progress. So that helps. And more importantly, never forget what is said.
Okay, okay, awesome. Great points, Venkat. I mean, as you said, that feedback matters a lot, right? And also, remember why we started this. That
Right.
statement is something which will help you. And playbook is definitely a very powerful tool to have this implementation. Be it anyone there, anyone who comes in as a champion, as you said, the people change, role change, and things, everything change. So, but a playbook will actually kind of onboard them seamlessly without knowing where to start, how to start,
Correct.
and they know for a fact that this is how we work.
Correct.
So I think we have an AI component to the platform. Probably, thanks for asking, Jagdishwar, and I'm curious to answer your question. Let's take it offline and then discuss about this. Maybe you can drop in your email ID. I'm going to share my LinkedIn handle as well. Maybe we can reach out and discuss about it. And I think that's not my handle. I'm going to, if you want to reach out to Venkat, you can also reach out to Venkat. Venkat, you want to share your LinkedIn handle with them?
Yeah, I'm happy to share.
So you can reach me at Ramya Datalligence.ai. So you can join our community as well. I'll share that your community link would be actually shared with you. After sometime once this meeting is over, we'll share the invite to join our community as well. If you're interested in joining, and you will also be getting updates on the events happening, and when we are actually getting together to meet and then discuss. We are also having an offline community event sometime, which is happening in the month of February. Maybe you can join us. It's happening in Chennai. If people have joined in from Chennai, you can come and then meet us in person. So we will share all the details in terms of people who have visited this particular event. We will also share the details in terms of what is the next event which is happening. And we are in Slack for the community as of now. If you're not in Slack, we also have another community in LinkedIn, which we will ask our team to share it with you. You can join either in Slack or in LinkedIn community, where we discuss more about goal setting, OKRs, or anything related to leadership or people. And if you want to take a one-on-one consulting with any of our team member, a 15-minute session, you can feel free to write to me, and I've given my email ID there. So I think it's been very interesting, something which I wanted to talk to Venkat for a long time, but he's busy, and it takes a lot to actually get that going. And I thought, why not ask all my question in a webinar where people can also take some inputs or insights or outcomes what he has had. So that's the intent of me talking to Venkat. Venkat, thank you very much for taking time and joining us today. It's a pleasure talking to you. Knowing your experience will also guide us to build better products, to better a team also.
Sure.
Thank you very much.